Hey fellow patriots, welcome to Hope for Survival YouTube. Thanks for tuning in for another Hope for Survival YouTube video. We appreciate you coming back and appreciate your support, and apologize, it's been a couple days since I've been able to post a video, and I'll do my best going forward. I'm going to be on the road a lot in the next couple weeks as I'm packing up now to head to Eastern Kentucky in 2 days for the Kentucky Gun and Preparedness Expo over near Hazard, Kentucky. And I look forward to that. Look forward to seeing some Hope for Survival sisters and brothers who are attending that event. And they have a great agenda for instruction and topics. This is their second annual event, and I attended last year and taught some classes, and we'll be doing the same this year, and then heading home, and then quickly turning around and heading back to Alabama for most of next week and the coming week after that. So I'll do my best to knock out some videos as time permits. If I have a signal, I'll drop a video or two from up in Eastern Kentucky. So thanks for coming back and for your patience. Hopefully in the near future, towards the end of April, things will balance out a little bit, and I can drop more videos. So today's topic is something that has troubled me for a period of time, and it's something that's the more I research it and look at numbers and realities, it concerns me even more. And the topic is mental health, illness, and disorders. Anyone who endures a disorder or illness, my heart goes out to you. And I personally have dealt with the same issues in my family for going on 30 years, and it's tough. Often with no answers, and so much of it depends on a sound treatment foundation and medicinal support to help the individual live somewhat a productive day each day. So I'm with you on that, but there's a part of this topic that deeply concerns me, and I've put together some information, and it's too much to recall off the top of my brain. So I'm going to present the script to you. It is mental illness, also called mental health disorders, refers to a wide range of mental health conditions. Disorders that affect your mood, thinking, and behavior. Examples of mental illness include depression, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, eating disorders, and addictive behaviors. A mental disorder shares the same qualities as a mental illness, but is used in reference to Mental Health Act to describe the particular symptoms a person has. So I want to share some numbers with you pertaining to the United States. So depression in the United States affects over 18 million adults, 1 in 10 in any given year. It is the leading cause of disability for ages 15 to 44. It is the primary reason why someone dies of suicide about every 12 minutes. That's over 41,000 people a year. Depression in the workplace causes 490 million disability days from work each year in the United States. Accounts for 23 billion in lost work days each year. Takes an economic toll over $100 billion each year from U.S. businesses. One of the disorders that I am more familiar with that impacts one of my family members that I get to see in person real, and that's called bipolar disorder. It affects 2.6% of the U.S. adult population, or 6.3 million people. It often starts in a person's late teen or early adult years, but children and older adults can have bipolar disorder too. The illness usually lasts a lifetime. PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, affects about 8 million adults in a given year. Frequently occurs after a violent personal assault such as rape, mugging, or domestic violence, terrorism, natural or human-caused disasters, and accidents. Affects 11 to 20 out of every 100 veterans who served in Iraq. It affects 12 out of every 100 veterans who served in the Gulf War. It affects 15 out of every 100 Vietnam War veterans, according to the most recent study in the late 1980s, the National Vietnam Veterans Readjustment Study. It is estimated that about 30 out of every 100 Vietnam veterans have PTSD in their lifetime. These are the ones who are diagnosed and are found for studies. This does not include those that never seek treatment or get any kind of counseling or any kind of medication. Generalized anxiety disorder affects 2 to 4% of the adult U.S. population, or 5 to 9 million people. Has a median age of onset of 31 years. Suicide was the 10th leading cause of death for all ages in 2013. Those are the most current numbers that were I was able to balance out. Results in the death of 4 times as many men as women, and represents 77.9% of all suicides. It's the second leading cause of death among persons aged 15 to 34 years, and the third leading cause of death among persons aged 10 to 14. Every day, approximately 110 Americans take their own life, and roughly 3,500 attempts to do so. I recently stated in a video and in a newsletter on the Hope for Survival webpage that from in the last 2 years, the number of veterans committing suicide has gone from 22 a day to 44 per day. It has doubled. How much has mental illness increased in the last 10 years? Is there a rise of mental illness in today's world, or are we just categorizing normal emotional responses as mental health issues? Statistics from the World Health Organization reveal a 13% increase in reported mental health disorders over the past 10 years. I want you to think about what I'm getting ready to say. Medication. Reports suggest that 97% of antibiotics and psychiatric medicinal needs come from China. They are also obtained from India as well. In many of the podcasts, alternative news podcasts, we're hearing the increased chatter of war with China. And I just shared with you that 97% of our antibiotics and psychiatric medicinal needs comes from China. What does this mean for our future with this looming and growing problem? Migrants. Migrants coming to America. It is believed through 40 different studies that 32% of migrants coming to America suffer some degree of a mental disorder. In a U.S. news article recently, an article titled "The High Risk of Developing Mental Health Issues," it stated, "Asylum seekers and refugees are among the most vulnerable to mental health issues. They have often witnessed and fled extreme violence only to end up living in a place just as unsafe. Inequality, exposure to violence, and an unstable living situation are all risk factors that increase the chances of developing depression, anxiety, or other common mental health issues, according to the World Health Organization. DHS, or Homeland Security, confirms that Venezuela empties prisons and sends violent criminals to our southern border. One could assume the same for many other countries to be true. Historically, this was attempted by Cuba, I do believe, during the Haitian crisis years ago. We can assume three categories of migrants could be showing up to our border. Treated for prior psychiatric issues arriving with no continued prescriptions. Previously treated, however, they arrive with no medications and must now be re-diagnosed in America and receive treatments in the U.S. Or violent criminals with mental disorder symptoms not diagnosed in the prison system arriving to America and remain untreated and on our streets. All of the above categories will be taxing on an already short supply of psychiatric medicinal needs, taking away from American patients struggling to find prescription needs. U.S. homelessness. 21% of individuals experiencing homelessness reported having a serious mental illness, and 16% reported having a substance use disorder. A 16% increase among individuals experiencing chronic homelessness between 2020 and 2022. It is easy for symptoms of depression, anxiety, and other mental health conditions to go unnoticed or unaddressed. In fact, the World Health Organization estimates that close to 2/3 of mental illness goes untreated. Numerous studies have reported that approximately 1/3 of homeless persons have a serious mental illness, mostly schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. In 2022, over 122,000 people living in homelessness had severe mental illness. This number has been rising slowly over the last decade, increasing from 108,378 in 2022, according to HUD data. Several other studies suggest that 31% to 45% of mental disorder amongst the homeless in 2023. With increasing numbers daily and the availability of proper diagnosis and regular treatment plans, the problem is only going to grow bigger and more problematic. Why I'm sharing all this with you is a escalating concern of any person that is an American who is under a treatment plan could continue or have big problems trying to find locations to fill psychiatric meds to treat whatever diagnosis they hold. Okay, and when you are bringing in hundreds of thousands of non-citizens to the country who may be treated and running out of medicine, or have been treated and they have no medicine and need to be re-diagnosed and then find medications, or simply how many are coming from 80 plus countries with some form of a disorder that is undetected and unknown, and they're being placed in 43 different cities and spreading all over our country. This is setting up a disaster situation for everyone. I have personally witnessed firsthand what an untreated adult is like when they go a week to 2 weeks without their meds or longer, and they are They can be very violent. They have enormous strength, and they do not know any of their family members who are around them. They're a totally different person, and without immediate access to medical facilities and medical professionals, it only gets worse. So, with hundreds of thousands or more roaming the streets of America, who may approach a stranger in a neighborhood or a stranger in the street, the situation could go south quickly. All right. So, it is a sad topic for any human who suffers from any of these disorders. But when it comes to total strangers who are going to be roaming throughout our communities, our grocery stores, parks, oftentimes Americans have tender hearts, and they may see an individual sleeping on the ground in a park or under a bridge, and they want to approach these individuals. It's not a wise choice. I may have shared this story before. Years back in a city that Miss Lucy and I lived in, there was a male who was he appeared to be probably in his 40s, and we would always see him walking, and he always had on a pair of jeans with a belt that were so big on him he had to hold the belt to hold his pants up, and he always had on a dirty white undershirt. And we wanted to share some additional clothing and some winter clothing for him, because it would be 25 degrees, 30 degrees, 32, 35, whatever, and raining and sleeting, and he would be walking miles and miles and miles in worn out shoes with no winter clothing. He would just walk and walk and walk. So we reached out to the police precinct that patrolled the area where he always walked, and told him what we would like to do, and they warned us not to approach the individual, to let the police department know when we wanted to exchange the clothing and give it to them, and they would give it to him, but do not approach the individual. And I think of that situation, and I think of our current circumstances to now and going forward, to how many of these individuals may be without family, without someone to get them care, and they are going to be surrounding our schools, our playgrounds, shopping malls, anywhere that's public, and they may even roam onto your property. Okay, and many of them won't be able to communicate with you because they're psychologically in another world, and many of them may end up hurt, as well as many of us could as well end up hurt because of how violent these individuals can be. And like I said, it's a sad state of affairs, but it is a reality, and it's something that we all need to brace ourselves for going forward. We can't take it lightly, and we cannot allow our generosity to get in the way of common sense. Okay, always go through authorities to identify the individual, and if there is a history, the authorities may know it, and so forth. So keep these things in mind, and keep your head on a swivel as well. That these individuals could be around us. Okay. So with that said, if you like this video, please hit like. If you want to share with others to get this word out, please feel free to share. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. And thanks to those who have recently subscribed. And we welcome you. And if you have any comments, please feel free to leave them down below. And stay safe, stay healthy, and be blessed. And most of all, don't forget to give thanks. Bravo Echo out.